From as long as I remember, I wanted to be someone else.
Frederick is a serial imposter who's successfully stolen the identity of a missing child.
He would fool the American consul, he would fool the FBI, he would come home to meet 15 members of his family at the airport and they would all buy it. He would fool his sister.
Immediately I started wondering about what kind of a human being would perpetrate a crime like that. When I met him, he's a compelling and confusing and extraordinary character. And at times you find him childlike and sympathetic and like someone who needs looking after. And then at other times, one of the extraordinary things is I felt like I was sort of falling under the spell of the story that he wanted me to hear.
When I was born, I don't think there was much love. I saw the opportunity. I could go to the US, go to school there, live with that family, and just being someone I never dreamed of so much.
The obligation that you owe to someone like that, it's very difficult to figure that out, because here is someone who has misled, lied to, manipulated about the most important and painful, powerful thing anyone could ever do to you, which is about your children. Aren't you just giving him this platform to kind of glorify himself? I felt very strongly that if we didn't allow him to tell his story in his own words, actually we weren't being fair to any of the other characters in the film. Your initial reaction is, how could any mother not recognize her own son? How could any sister not recognize her own brother? And until you understand how persuasive and how charming and how seductive he can be, the events that the film lays out are kind of inconceivable.
He's a master storyteller and he's also a master of manipulation, and I felt like that was also something that was important to allow the audience to experience. So actually he's the only person in the film that looks directly down the lens. He looks you in the eye. He's also significantly bigger in frame than some of the other contributors. I wanted to try and increase your experience of him. You felt like you were on the receiving end of all of his storytelling.
So just as Frederick mimicked Nicholas, I mimicked Frederick.
Funny of Frederick, well, I thought it was just going to be an impossible task because he looks very specific and his behaviour is obviously unusual.
I didn't give a damn what other people were thinking and what they were feeling. I care about myself, just about myself.
Adam O'Brien, who is actually a Welsh actor, was actually the first person I met.
Great, well, Frederick, how old are you?
22.
As I saw him, I was like, wow, this could actually really work.
So, Frederick, why should we believe anything that you're saying?
You do not have to believe anything I say to you. The truth is what you choose to believe, perhaps.
I've never met Frederick, and the kind of means I had to get to know him, if you like, were lots and lots of footage that I was sent through on DVD. I kind of watched them and listened to him on my iPod on a loop sometimes. I was just absolutely fascinated by him as a person.
I was trying to find a way out of my mind.
It's a dream, really, because it's a complex character, but it isn't a writer's made-up complex character. This is a real person that you're getting the chance to get your teeth into. And that's what you want as an actor. I thought that the accent that he had was quite unique. It wasn't like a standard French. There's a kind of Americanized thing going on with it. The rhythm was different, so rather than saying I wasn't the one who was telling them I was sexually abused, he's putting the stress where I wouldn't put the stress. So he's saying, I wasn't the one who was telling them I was sexually abused. I made them ask me that.
I made them ask me that.
So he's leaning on the them and he's putting a D instead of a TH and things like that, so I just note those things down. And at the same time, try and work out a kind of vocabulary he had of facial expressions which he used. So there's certain ones that are very expressive. There's the smile when he looks back at one point at himself.
Let's see if it's him.
And smiles at the camera. So moments like that I'd try and nail down as well. I think there's a lot of parallels between the way Fred chose to live his life and the way I've chosen to make my living is, you know, essentially pretending to be other people. I can kind of understand the adrenaline rush that he may have got from convincing someone of something that isn't true. I know people that would get a thrill out of even just chatting to somebody in a bar in a different accent. and convincing them that they're Irish or Scottish or whatever it is that they're not. People get a little buzz out of that, like, I lied. But for me, or any other actor, when you're finished at the theatre or filming, you can just go home and switch off and you can be yourself again. For him, the stakes were so high that he constantly had to be someone else. The pressure of that must be incredible to bear.
I knew there was no way out.
Even though you're aware that what he did was appalling and inexcusable, you find yourself in some way understanding his logic, understanding how he was able to do what he was able to do. Truth is definitely stranger than fiction here.